Hi, this is Micornus, Phokane, the leader and the founder of the Young Men Empowerment Forum. I want to deal with a topic that speaks really directly to you as a young man today. Very, very important topic. I want to speak about things that are out of your control that you need not bother about. Things that you need not bother about because they are out of your control. And I want to speak about that because most of the time in life, then we get overwhelmed. We get so much overwhelmed with things in life and we want to do everything every time. We want to know everybody every time. We want to know every place and be at the same place, at different places at the same time. All those overwhelming feelings of life where we want to have everything in this life. And these are actually pressurizing things in life, and they're very common. And that's the reason why I want to bring this topic, because I think it will knock some sense in some of us as young men, and out there it will actually help us. Now, there are things that you need not bother about in life. And some of the things that we bother about are really out of our control, but yet we can do nothing, but we still bother about. And that's what I want to speak about today. The first thing that you need not bother about in life, because it is out of your control, one is the actions of other people. And I want to start with that because many times we see people doing things and we worry about. And I'm sure as a young man, you would have driven on the road and you see how people come driving and cut you off on the road. And some people drive on the wrong side, people driving fast on other sides and cutting you off and while you're driving. People that actually drive recklessly in front of you. And those are type of things that you cannot control. These are things that are out of your space. These are things that are out of you that you cannot control. And you should not bother about that, because immediately you bother about things that you cannot control, they're basically going to make you to lose your mental health. And I'm emphasizing this now because we are living in days where people's mental health is very highly challenged. And as a young man, you need to be sober at all times and let your mind be normal in a way that would allow it to function. Other than that, then you're destroying your own mental health. And I'm actually saying this because it's very important that the actions of others don't affect you. There are people that are around us, friends and relatives and people that are colleagues, maybe at school and at work and so on. They behave in a different manner, and sometimes they handle their own things in a different way. And I know there are some of us who are worried about how people do things, how people handle their own things, how people handle their own lives. And we get worried about that. And we get worked out by another young man that is launched themselves into drugs. Another young man that is actually decided to become an alcoholic, and you're worried about that. And you feel like you can do something to fix them. You feel like you can do something to fix their lives or how they behave. And I want to tell you, as a young man, you can only have a power up to that far, because there are places that we've got a limit over them. The behavior of other people cannot be much of your control. It cannot be, because people have got their own volitions. People have got their own minds. People have got their own right of making choices. People have got their own right of making their own decisions in life. So therefore, there are those things that they've chosen to do them. They've chosen to do them the way they do them. And immediately you start getting worried about that and bother yourself out of it, you're actually challenging your own mental health. And I'm emphasizing this, young men, that you may understand that the actions of others that are actually not directly linking you. And sometimes those behaviors of people, they are not directly affecting you. And remember that there are three categories. The first one is those behaviors that don't affect you at all. Let me start with that. There are those behaviors of people outside of you, the actions that they do that affect you with nothing. They've got nothing to do with you. They are doing those things that are doing. Yes, you may be irritable or irritated by that behavior, but that behavior has got nothing to do with you. And therefore, you cannot bother yourself much about that, because the more you bother yourself much about that, you're actually just threatening your own psyche, your own mental health for something that has got no way effect on you. something that has got no relation with you at all. And I'm emphasizing this because most of the time we worry about things that we cannot control. We worry about things that have got nothing to do with us. Now, as a young man, please remember that the actions of others may have nothing to do with you. Now, there's also another category of actions of people, whereby it's actions of others that may affect you indirectly. So in other words, the effect may not put your name on it, but their effect may actually implicate you in a way, because they are behaving this way, then it may, as a result, as a consequence of, it may actually spill out to you and affect you as well. And this is exactly things like at work, for instance, whereby if you are getting group commissions, for instance, whereby you're being paid by the general work of other people, and some of your colleagues are not pulling their weight, some of the colleagues are not pulling their socks on, and as a team, you're going to be rewarded as a team, and they're not pulling their socks. And that's the problematic way whereby it affects you, but indirectly. It's actually affecting you because it is actually as a cause effect of, then it affects you. There are those issues that are the actions of others that are affecting you, but indirectly. And I'm saying that because in football clubs as well, whereby you play as a team of 11, and if you are in the ground playing and somebody's not pulling their socks, it's not affecting the individual only. It affects you as a team, but as an individual in the team, it affects you indirectly as well, because it does affect the whole team. And those are type of things that I'm saying, they may be as a cause effect affect you. But there are those also actions of others that affects you directly. Those actions of others that puts you in danger or tarnish your name directly. And these are the type of things that you can actually have no control of that, but you can address them. And I'm speaking about this because you must then categorize them in your mind. Is it an action of others that affect me? Is it an action of others that partly affect me, indirectly affect me? Or is it action of others that don't affect me at all? Because based on that, then you have to make a decision of how to handle those based on whether they affect you or not. And this is very key and very important. And as a young man, please don't stress yourself about actions of others that you may not be able to control. Now, the other thing that is out of your control generally, and is what we call the future. But I'm speaking about the future in a sense of what God has actually put for your future. Something like death, for instance, when you're going to die and all those things. So those are type of things that are out of your control. You cannot sit and moan and worry about death that you don't have control of. It's the future. It's something that is going to happen surely to you, but you need to be aware that you cannot control. It is out of your control. So therefore, if you sit and worry about death and end up not doing anything in your life, end up not planning anything in your life, just because you say you're going to die, that is something that I'm saying the future of your death is not in your control. But I want to bring a spin on this one with the fact that there are those things that are cause effect of what you do now. So in other words, you would know that your future is actually a cause effect of what you do today. So your present situation now may not determine the future, but what you do now may actually affect your future either positively or negatively. So in that regard, therefore, it is wise as an individual to look at it and say, if what I'm doing now is going to make my life doom in future, let me not do it. Let me stop doing it. Let me stop some habits that will affect me in future. Let me stop some behaviors that will affect me in future. As a young man, you should actually be preempting to your future based on your behavior, because there are those things that we do now and they become seeds of our future. And I'm warning you as a young man that you become very careful of that and say, if it is a seed that I plant for my future, therefore it must be a good seed. I must plant good seeds right now. I must not do my life now by living recklessly and doing things recklessly, because then I determine my future. So that's the reason why we say your future may be out of your control, but there's some elements that you can do actually to shape your future based on the seeds that you plant now, because the seeds that you plant now may speak to your future. And I always say this, that be careful that you don't regret of the old man that is going to come out of your youth life. As a young man today, so invest in your own self so that the old man that will result out of you will be proud of you as a young man along the way. I want to end up here today. Your host, Micornus Phokane. I hope this has provoked you a little bit. It has made you as a young man to think a little bit more deeper and make sure that you don't fall under the trap of worrying about things that are not within your control. I want to shout out here, and please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Young Men Empowerment Forum, and make sure that you click notification button there as well. And remember our Facebook page, Young Men Empowerment Forum, and Micornus Phokane. Those will help you, as we've got a lot of materials that we've posted in advance. And please like those pages. Make sure that you click notification button, and you are notified of every material that we post on this platform. May the good Lord bless you. Allow me to check out right here. Your host, Micornus Phokane, the leader and the founder of Young Men Empowerment Forum. Cheers for now.